Hi, it's KCCK's Culture Crawl. I'm Dennis Green, and my guest today, as we begin our interviews for Jazz Under the Stars 2026, is the featured act for night one of Jazz Under the Stars this year, Joey Schnoebelen. Joey, welcome.
Thanks, Dennis. Good to be here.
I kind of feel like it's false advertising for this year worth of Jazz Under the Stars because we kind of made a big deal out of last year being the reunion year for KCCK's 50th. So we, brought back all these artists from the 80s and the 90s and the 2000s that made multiple appearances. And then I made a big deal this year out of saying, and this year it's all new acts, people who've never headlined before. And that is technically true that you've never headlined before. But of course, you've been on the Jazz Under the Stars stage, more than once, I think.
I don't know if I actually have been.
I know Colby has.
Colby has. My brother. Yeah. I don't think. I've done the Opus Concert Cafe Friday night series for the past couple of years.
Okay, yeah,
maybe. I actually don't think, even in high school, that I've done.
Because you were not in Tennis Soul the last time we had them. So, okay. So
I don't think I have, no.
So, in this case, it is someone who is completely new to
we go.
Jazz Under the Stars stage. So, look at me. What a great job I did in delivering what I promised.
Beautiful, Dennis.
But I can be forgiven if I just assume that Joey has done everything associated with KCCK because over the years, you kind of have.
Yeah, I have for sure.
And you are one of several artists that are participating this year who has literally kind of grown up with KCCK. And that means that we've had the opportunity to get to know you when you were a young musician and now being one of our most in-demand pros in the area. And that's great for us. But I hope that your experience with KCCK over the years has been valuable to you, too.
Oh, KCCK has been fabulous to me over the past couple of years. I mean, one of my favorite pictures of all time is the Corridor Jazz Project picture when Courtney Jones was assistant professor at Iowa, and he was guest artist with the City Eye Band my senior year. And he's up there just like yelling at me, and I'm in like a gray waffle Under Armour shirt.
Just soaking it all in.
I think that well sums up my experience.
Probably
with KCCK.
Probably in the back of your mind going, what have I gotten into?
Oh yeah, exactly. I'm just like, there's no emotion on my face. I'm just like, I don't know what's going on.
So you did the Corridor Jazz Project when you were in high school at City High, as we said, and then you went to the University of Iowa. And it was while you were still in undergrad that you started touring with King's Brass. Tell me about that.
It was actually right after I finished my undergrad.
Okay.
So I remember I was in my fifth year of school, and I was kind of looking at a couple of accounting jobs at that point. And
we'll talk about that.
We'll talk about that in a second.
We'll get to that later.
A friend of mine said, "Hey, there's this group called King's Brass that posted an open audition on Musical Chairs, which is kind of like the big brass audition forum where you look for a bunch of the orchestral jobs and other playing jobs. A lot of the military bands post trumpet jobs in there." And he said, I think this would be a really good fit for you. And it was kind of, they had a classical part of the audition, also like kind of a commercial jazz part of the audition. And I sent in a tape, and then within 3 weeks, I get a phone call from this guy in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and said, "Tim Zimmerman, would you like to be a part of the King's Brass?" And that was maybe a month or two before I was set to graduate. And I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing, at least for the next year.
And what was that like?
Touring with the King's Brass?
Being a part of that group.
It really, I would say that is maybe my first big professional gig job that I've won. There's been other things I did when I was an undergrad, but as far as coming out of school and making money consistently and having that be my job, that was it. The King's Brass was my first professional job.
And what's the one thing you learned going on the road with that group?
Oh boy.
The one biggest thing that sticks out in your mind.
You got to take care of yourself as best as you possibly can. You'd eat fast food every single day. The sleep was pretty good by the time I got to the group. We would always be in hotels, and we'd always have our own beds. Sometimes we stay at host homes, but we'd always have our own bed. Back before, sometimes they would drive through the middle of the night, and you just got to take care of yourself because by the time you get to month 3 of summer tour, people are just pale in the face. You see bags under their eyes. Everyone's tired. Everyone's getting a little bit short and snippy. And you also have to make sure that just doesn't, the tiredness and doesn't affect your performance and even how you interact with people, because they're the reason you go there and perform in the first place. And
you still owe everybody a good show at the end of the night, even if you're not feeling it.
Absolutely. Even just being a good person, like you just got to suck it up sometimes. And I think.
And then, of course, your brother Colby then also became a member of that group.
Yeah. So I knew there was going to be a trombone opening, I think in January and February before the next tour. And we were actually on our 45th anniversary cruise down in the Caribbean. And I remember that Tim, the guy that ran the group, he said, "Tell me about your brother." He was listening to audition tapes on the cruise. And I'm like, shouldn't you be relaxing, enjoying this? But no, I told Colby, I said, I think this would be a really good opportunity for you. There's a trombone spot open, and I didn't mind touring with my brother, And Tim even asked, he's like, you think that'll be an issue touring for your brother? And I said, no, I think it'll be just fine.
And was it fun?
It was fun. It was great. It was kind of interesting. I mean, there's definitely all the guys, I had some kind of relationship with, but there were a few of the guys I toured with that especially became my good friends even now. And it was kind of interesting seeing Colby, kind of coming to the group, and then every dynamic of the group is slightly different.
Yeah. Well, interacting, even though you all have performed together, since high school, still, interacting with him as a fellow professional on a road tour, still way different.
Oh, very different. And yeah, sometimes you'd see the boss yell at me, or sometimes he'd yell at, Colby or someone else. And it's just well,
and you got to keep from coming out of your seat to defend your brother.
Yeah. Or you just watching. It's I told you, don't do that.
So you've been off the road now for a little bit with that, and you've got some really great classical gigs that we'll talk about. But we mentioned First Friday earlier, and we hinted that there was kind of a funny story about getting an accounting job. So we should talk about that, because actually you can kind of thank First Friday for your day job.
Oh, absolutely. And thanks to Denny Redmond for coming out to that First Friday gig 2 years ago.
Yeah, I mentioned in my intro that you were just finishing up your accounting degree, and he heard that. He had just retired from an accounting firm and grabbed you literally at intermission.
Yep. Yeah, just what are the chances, right? Right place, right time. Yeah, that was definitely a case of right place, right time.
And how has that worked out? How is balancing being an accountant, especially during the first quarter of the year, with being a musician?
I don't take too many gigs during the first quarter of the year. I'm definitely getting more used to it now. I will say I really enjoy my company, Lott Harris, who I work for. There's a lot of autonomy. I mean, they give me the chance to go out and still play all my gigs, and they're really flexible as long as you get your work done. I think that they've
really always been very supportive of the arts.
Oh, that. Absolutely.
We talk a lot in the education field about the link between making music or learning an instrument, and that having a positive effect on math and skills like that. Do you kind of feel that? Do you feel that helps how your brain works? Do you get that sense at all?
I almost get the sense that it's more I think they're connected in a different way. I feel like sometimes when I do music, I'm using this totally different side of my brain. Obviously, I mean, the way I approach jazz improvisation, especially when I was first learning how to improvise, was very mathematical. I'm gonna, pivot to this note, and I would work out a formula for myself. And now it's not as mathematical. It's more so, okay, I have this shape or this idea in my head, and I'm just gonna, let my technique follow along what my brain wants to do. So I don't actually know. I think maybe there's some connection, but definitely now I feel like I use one side of my brain maybe for that, then another side of my brain for music, and it's kind of nice. It's almost especially if we're busier at work and then I go and play a symphony gig and I'm tired by the end of that weekend, oftentimes I feel pretty refreshed just because it's something different, and I don't know, I feel like the other side of my brain maybe heals a little bit, relaxes, and then I can go back and use it again during my job.
Well, let's talk about Jazz Under the Stars. As I said, you are kicking off with the very first night. We've got a great student band to open things. It's Night School, which was formed by Mike McMahon of Ten of Soul fame. He's a teacher in the North Scott School District, and he wanted to have provide that learning experience to his students. So they're a working band, even though they're all still in high school, and so he's helping with that. But of course, you play trumpet in Ten of Soul, so it's very appropriate that Night School would be the warm-up band.
Yeah, Dennis or Mike was texted me after one of our Ten of Soul gigs in the Quad Cities. I was just telling Dennis this before we started this, but he said, "Hey, Joey, didn't know if you knew this, but we're going to be opening for your band at Jazz Under the Stars." And I'm like, "This is perfect. This is great."
So tell me about the band that you're bringing to Jazz Under the Stars.
So this is my quintet, the Joey Schnoebelen Quintet. I wish there could be a better name for it, but I'm pretty bad with names. But anyway, it will be myself. It will be Rich Med on trombone. It will be Eric Thompson drums. Vivian Shanley, who is also playing.
That's right,
her own
Vivian.
set.
Yeah, and again from we're putting all these new people on stage. Vivian's been playing that stage since he was an 8th grader and is playing 3 of our gigs.
Yeah, I actually think this is my
too.
first time playing with Vivian.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I'm
because she's
very
played with
excited
Colby a
about
lot.
that.
And in
Yeah.
fact, Colby's going to play in her ensemble. But is he still on the road right now?
Yeah, he's still on the road till I think about mid-August or so.
Okay. All right. So,
And then Nate Sparks on piano as well.
Nice. Okay. And this is pretty much the core group that has performed at First Friday. So people who've seen you at First Friday are familiar. But for those who aren't, kind of characterize the sound of your group. Who do you take after? What different artists do you like to feature? That kind of thing. Tell me a little bit about your quintet.
So the biggest artist probably I'd say that's influenced my sound in jazz is probably Roy Hargrove, and kind of his quintet is what I try to model. I think my shows and the music we play off of. There's also some of other instrumentalists that have just influenced me over the years. There's going to be some Kenny Garrett music in there, some Cedar Walton music in there as well. There'll also be a composition from my friend Cole Peterson. We went together at school at University of Iowa.
Yep.
And
I remember Cole when he was here.
Yeah, and then he's living in New York City now. And, I said, "Hey, there's the song we played a couple of years ago. You think you could, send me the charts for them?" He's like, "Oh, absolutely." So we'll be doing some of those. So I think most of the charts just kind of, what have influenced me musically, what I want to present, what I think will sound good. And I think something that the Roy Hargrove quintet does really well in particular is programming. I think that sometimes as musicians or artists, we can maybe look inwardly too much. We focus on, oh man, this experience on stage is awesome. But at the same time, it's for the people listening. And I think that you have to find a balance maybe as a programmer, oh, what do you think maybe they would like to listen to? How can I make one song flow to the next smoothly and kind of connect all the songs? And because there's going to be some lags in the show, some other moments where it rises in the peak of it. And then you just have to try to make it enjoyable as possible for people on stage and hopefully in the audience.
Yeah, Roy Hargrove, there was no question that he was a great jazz artist, but he was also a great musical entertainer.
Oh, absolutely.
His music has something for that serious, knowledgeable jazz listener, but also somebody who's totally new to it can grok it right from the start and be into it, even if they've never heard it before.
Yeah, if he was still alive, and there was someone that they're like, "I've never listened to jazz in my life," I would probably, that would be well, let's go listen to Roy Hargrove Quintet. You know?
Definitely.
I think that, it's just really accessible, maybe as an entry point to
an
jazz
on-ramp.
music.
Yeah,
good on-ramp.
Jazz Under the Stars Week 1, Thursday, August 6th, Noelridge Park as usual, 6:30 with night school, and then 7 o'clock or a little after for the Joey Schnoebelen Quartet. We've got all the usual stuff at the playground right there for families who want to let their kids run around. We've got some great food trucks that are coming, the KCCK merch booth and door prizes and stuff like that. Joey, before we go, you're also playing a lot of classical trumpet right now because you're working with not one but 2 symphonies regularly.
Yes, I am. I'm playing associate principal with the Dubuque Symphony and then second trumpet with the Waterloo Cedar Falls Symphony.
So that'll be ramping up. It's putting on the tux again.
Yep, I still need to dry clean my tuxedo. So time to do that.
That's right. But better get to that sooner than later. So as you look ahead, are you doing the accountancy by day and then gigging as you like at night? Is that kind of how you see things, or do you have other things that you want to do, other goals in mind?
I think as far as my steady dose of things I do, that's my plan for the near future, to kind of work in accounting, but also to work in the symphonies and then take other freelance gigs. There's one more thing that I'm hoping to put together. Some of the guys I toured with, we're hoping to maybe do a week or so out of the year, maybe 2 weeks out of the year, where we do a mini tour, put together some of our own music and do that.
Oh, nice. Okay, we'll keep us posted on that.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Yeah, it's in the works right now.
Well, Joey, it's always a pleasure to get to talk to you and get to hear you play. As I've said, we've had the chance to do that ever since you were in high school, and it's just been one of the great joys and pleasures of my life to get to listen to you over the years and see the development you've made as an artist and becoming one of our top professionals in the region. So looking forward to a great night with Jazz Under the Stars. Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for the kind words, Dennis.
You can hear the Culture Crawl live on the radio most weekdays at 10:30, on demand at kcck.org/culture, or subscribe using your favorite podcast player. Watch our videos on the KCCK Facebook and YouTube channels. Our producer is Lydia Kilgore. The Culture Crawl theme is composed by Vivian Shanley. I'm Dennis Green, and I'll talk to you later.